That's lovely. I would like now to introduce our guest speaker for today. Some of you may know her as a choir member, a church leader, and a composer. This morning I'd like to introduce Diana Chappell to you as a corporate leader. Diana Chappell has worked with vulnerable people for more than 35 years, the last 24 with Durham Social Services Department, first administering financial assistance and moving to housing in 2002, where she's currently the manager of affordable housing and homelessness initiatives. Her team is responsible for a number of different housing functions, including administering funding to community agencies to provide supports to households that are homeless or at the risk of homelessness, managing the wait list for rent subsidies, and working with developers and social housing providers to create new rental housing. Diana has a master's in adult education and is a member of several provincial associations serving on committees to develop new initiatives related to municipal service delivery. As a member of a number of municipal and community committees and working closely with community agencies, Diana brings her experience and knowledge to projects as varied as the waitlist management and homelessness enumeration. Thank you. I give you Diana Chappell.
Oh, no applause, no applause. When we were cleaning up last night, it never even occurred to me that maybe I should find the lectern before we go on, but this will do. I'm used to music stands. Let us pray. May the words I speak be those you want spoken. May the words we hear be those you want heard. Take our hearts and set them on fire with love for you. Amen. I have been living in my apartment for 3 years, and I cannot afford to lose it. I have a 10-year-old son that I care for, and I fear I will lose custody if I lose my apartment. I'm actively searching for new employment as I was laid off a few months ago. I couldn't get employment insurance because I was being paid under the table, so I had to go on Ontario Works Assistance. They don't give you enough to pay your rent. I needed help to catch up on my rent because I'm waiting for a job interview with General Motors, and I'm positive I will be working before the end of the month. Could you please help me get caught up on my rent? Please, I don't have nowhere to go with my son. I have no family here in Ontario at all. I also have a lawyer through legal aid that is helping me to get support payments from my ex-husband, who does not support us at all. I know you think my apartment is too expensive, but there is nowhere that's cheaper. I didn't know I was going to be laid off, and I spent my last paycheck on living room furniture and a new Wii for my son. I didn't know. Please help me. The letter that I just read to you, is it echoing out there as badly as it's echoing for me? Can you turn me down just a bit, please? The letter that I just read is a letter that was sent in by a woman who was appealing a decision to deny her assistance for rental arrears based on the fact that she pays too much in rent. Not an unusual request. We get requests like this every day. We have a program that assists people with rent arrears or utility arrears that helps them to move with last month's rent assistance. But we always look at these files and we think, why are you asking for this money? You make this stupid choice and now you want us to help you dig out of this hole. It's really, really easy to jump to judgment. We all do it. As much as I try hard not to, and I have that the poster with the golden rule on it, I have that in my office as a reminder, and still, it's hard not to make these judgments. Why should we help you pay your rent when you just gave your child this extravagant birthday party with a rented jumping castle? To me, that seems like a very poor decision. But maybe it doesn't to the person that was making that decision. Let me just give you a few facts around the region of Durham. Affordable housing costs are considered 30% of your gross income. People that spend more than 30% are deemed to be in housing need. If it's more than 50%, it's considered severe housing need. So quickly at the numbers, a single parent with one child looking at an average two-bedroom apartment in Oshawa, that's not the average. It's $1,035. That's what it costs to rent a two-bedroom apartment in Oshawa, $1,035. That may include hydro, it may not. So in order to afford that apartment, you need to be working full-time, 40 hours a week, making almost $20 an hour. But minimum wage is $11.40. So at minimum wage, you're paying 52% of your income on rent. That's not even including the cost of childcare. If you're at the bottom of the income scale and you're a single person on Ontario Works Assistance, you're paying 65% of your income on rent. But that means that you have filed your taxes and are getting all of the available government benefits. That doesn't leave you much for other things, in particular food. Our health department set up a really detailed website, and I would encourage you to look at it. It's durham.ca, and you look at the health department. They have a map of the region, and they have mapped out the neighborhoods so that you can see the characteristics of each neighborhood. 7 of these neighborhoods have been deemed priority neighborhoods because they have a high rate of poverty, a high rate of poor health, of poor nutrition, low scores in education. Do we have that picture? Okay, so I'm sure it doesn't come as a surprise to you. Those places that you see in yellow, those are the priority neighborhoods. More than half of the priority neighborhoods are south of the 401 in Oshawa. These are our poorest neighborhoods in the Durham region. So what can we do? We're looking at this as, we're the middle class, we're us. The people that live in those neighborhoods are them. So what's the difference between us and them? I have my staff go through a program called Bridges Out of Poverty, and it teaches them about what it's like to be in the different classes of economics. So at the highest end, we have the wealthy. I'm not going to talk about wealthy today because I don't think any of us consider us in that category. We talk about that. The middle class and the people living in poverty. I think most of us here are middle class. And even if we don't consider ourselves to be middle class economically, I think we are middle class by the way we approach our decision making. So in the middle class, achievement is important. We talk about things like planning for the future, putting money aside for your retirement, talking about work, achievement, material security. Those all have value to us. We are willing to save for the next day, to put things away for a rainy day. What about people who live in poverty? When you're in poverty, there is no tomorrow. There is only today. And the decisions that I make today are based on what I need today. So the most important things to me is survival. Fate controls my life. I don't control my life. It's survival, it's relationships. That's what I have, are relationships. And I can't stop bad things from happening, so why would I? Why would I even think I could try? So let's hear from somebody else living in poverty. I make a lot of poor financial decisions. None of them matter in the long term. I will never not be poor. So what does it matter if I don't pay a thing and a half this week instead of just one thing? It's not like the sacrifice will result in improved circumstances. The thing that's holding me back is not that I blew $5 at Wendy's. It's that now I have proven that I am a poor person, and that is all I am or ever will be. It is not worth it to me to live a bleak life devoid of small pleasures so that one day I can make that one single large purchase. I will never have large purchases to hold on to. There's a certain pull to live what bits of life you can while there's money in your pocket. Because no matter how responsible you are, you will be broke in 3 days. People familiar with this diagram? It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And Maslow posited that people must meet each level of need before they can move on to the next one. So you must have shelter and food. And when you're comfortable in that, then you can move on to safety concerns. And then you move to love and belonging. Then you move to self-esteem. And finally to self-actualization. What I've learned from working with people in poverty is that that's not real. Yes, there's an issues around safety and shelter and food, and I need those. But more than that, I need personal connection. That is what makes my life meaningful. I am never not going to be poor, but I can have friends, I can have family. So here's what the rest of that second speaker had to say. Poverty is bleak. It cuts off your long-term brain. It's why you see people with 4 different baby daddies instead of 1. You grab a bit of connection wherever you can to survive. You have no idea how strong the pull to feel worthwhile is. It's more basic than food. You go to these people who make you feel lovely for an hour that one time, and that's all you get. You're probably not compatible with them for anything long-term, but right this minute, they can make you feel powerful and valuable. It doesn't matter what will happen in a month. Whatever happens in a month, it's going to matter anyway. It's going to happen anyway. And it's no different than what happened today or yesterday or last week. None of it matters. We don't plan long-term because if we do, we'll just get our hearts broken. It's best not to hope. You just take what you can get as you spot it. In 2009, we did an evaluation of the learning programs here at Faith, and we did a survey of people who had taken part in any of our learning programs. And we asked, what did you find the most valuable thing in the programs? And people did say learning about the Bible, increasing theological knowledge, deepening my spirituality. But do you know what the number one thing people found in that survey was? The most important thing about our learning programs? It was about fellowship. It was about developing community, getting to know each other more deeply, connection. Is that any different from what we just heard from our speaker? So let's try becoming them for a few minutes. And I'm hoping this is going to work. Larry, you got this? Okay. So click on start for me, Larry. We're going to try and make it through the month. So this is the closest I could get to Durham region. So in Durham region, it's 1 in 10 families lives in poverty. So we're going to be a single parent family. Let's click on single parent and click choose. You had your child at a young age, and it's been just the two of you ever since. 10 years later, you're a single parent working as a restaurant. Most months you can make ends meet. Let's start. You need to find a place to live. So we're going to make a choice. If you live in the inner city, the rent is higher. In the region, that would be if you lived in Pickering, the rent would be higher than it is in Oshawa. Or if you lived in Bowmanville, the rent would be higher than Oshawa. But the closer you are to your job, the rent goes up. The farther away from your job, the rent goes down, but your transportation's cost up. How many people want to live in the suburbs? No, this is participatory. You have to put your hand up. How many people want to live in the suburbs? Closer to their job? Okay, we're going to move that slider over to... And we choose it. Oh, look how much money we have left over. And how many days till payday? 14 days. We have $273. Your child is invited to a birthday party. So we can spend $20 to buy the present your child wants to pick for their friend. We can spend $5 for a less expensive gift, or we can keep our child home. 1? How many people vote for 1? How many people vote for 2? Okay, looks like 2 is the winner. So we just spent $5. Your child is a little nervous about going to the party with the gift you chose, but at least they get to go to the party. Next. Your cell phone bill is due today. Keep in mind that many people who live in poverty only have a cell phone. They don't have a landline. A landline requires a large deposit. That's not often available. So most people that live in poverty have a cell phone only. I can pay the bill for $70 or I cannot pay the bill. Pay the bill? Not pay the bill. We're going to pay the bill. There goes another $70. Okay, you paid the bill, so you do have that connection. The other thing to remember is that your child now has could have internet access through that phone, so they can do their homework. Next. Okay, your child is building a project for the science fair. Buy the supplies for the project they want to build, which is $40, or buy the supplies something less expensive, which is $15. 40? 15. Okay, the 15 wins. Your child is disappointed, but at least they get to go to the science fair with their friends. You're going out Friday night. You can't take your child, but you do want to go out. Remember, we don't have a lot of pleasures when you're living in poverty. There isn't a lot of things to do. So I can hire a sitter and go with them for $60. I can let my child stay home alone and go for $20, or I can stay home. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Overwhelming. You missed out on a fun night, but at least you can stay home and play fun with games with your. You would like to cash your paychecks, but you don't have a bank account. It costs money to have a bank account, and many banks will not allow people living in poverty who only make their next check and spend all their money every month to have a bank account, because you can't pay those service fees. So it does cost money to have a bank account. On the other hand, if you use a payday loan, you also have to pay for every check that you cash. So that's an issue too. So I can go to the payday loan to cash my check at $24, or I can spend $10 to open a bank account. Payday loan, account, bank account. The other thing you have to remember about bank accounts is if you open a bank account and you had closed an account that had money owing in it that was in a negative balance, the bank will take that money back next time some money gets deposited into your account. Yay, you did your taxes and you got your child tax benefit. You could put the money towards your debt, or you could keep the money and keep your debt for $250. Are we going to put the money to our debt? Are you sure? Going to keep the debt and keep the money? I didn't get it. Put your money towards your debt. No, keep the debt. Okay, we're going to keep the debt. If we had put that money towards our debt, did you figure out what would happen? Did you see on the side there we were sitting at less than $250? If we had put that money to our debt, we would have a negative balance now, and we would be done 6 days away from payday. So we kept the debt, which means we could incur a penalty later on. We will incur a penalty later on. But at least we have that money now. Next. Continue. Your child wants to play soccer. You can say yes and pay the registration, $240 for registration and equipment. You can go yes, but buy everything secondhand for $170, or you can say no. New equipment? Secondhand equipment? No. Secondhand equipment. Okay, so you know that you've just spent a considerable amount of money, but your child is now involved in something that's active and it gets them out What you need to remember, though, too, is that now you have to take that child where they need to go for their soccer games. And it may not be somewhere that you can easily get to. And you work as a restaurant server, so it may not be at times of day that you can get there. Next. Your sister's getting married. It's in Calgary. You can fly, $1,300. You can tell your sister you can't go but send a $100 gift, or tell your sister you can't go and don't send a gift. Fly to Calgary? No. Send a gift? Don't go. No gift. No, don't go, no gift, definitely. Your sister's upset, but she understands. Your pet is sick. Pets are so to people that have very little else. Pets are that loving, warm person that even when your children are being nasty to you, will still love you. Pay for the treatment, it's $250. Pay $100 to have the pet put to sleep. Hope for the best. Pay for the treatment. Have it put to sleep. Hope for the best. A lot of people are hopers here. Okay, we're going to hope for the best. You feel terrible, but you can't afford the treatment. Now we're going to go get food. We need food for the next 2 weeks. You can buy mainly nutritious fresh food and vegetables, $250. You can buy processed foods that are less nutritious, and as counterintuitive as that seems, processed food is cheaper than fresh food. Processed, pre-prepared food is actually cheaper. You can buy a few cheaper groceries and then use the fast food. Go to McDonald's a couple of nights a week. So we have $250 for the fresh, nutritious food, $175 for the processed food, $125 for the cheaper groceries at McDonald's. Expensive fresh food, processed food, cheaper food at McDonald's. Wow, cheaper food won. So although it feels like we made a good decision financially, it was not a good decision nutritionally. And this is what we're feeding our children. Access to healthy, fresh food is so important for growing children. But when you're living with very little money, it's not surprising that people opt for something cheaper, and that further hinders the growth of those children. And not just physically, it hinders their intellectual growth. So they have trouble learning and they have difficulties in school. But that's the choice we had to make next. Oh, the light circuit in your kitchen has stopped working. Your landlord wants to make you pay for it, which, by the way, is not legal. The landlord is responsible for making sure that these things are working, but many landlords are quick to take advantage of their tenants. Right now in the region of Durham, it's a landlord's market. Average turnover rate for apartments should be around 3% in order to have a healthy turnover of tenants so that the rents stay reasonable. Right now in Durham region, we go from anywhere at 0% in Pickering and Bowmanville to Oshawa, which is just under 1%. So the vacancy rate is very low. At the same time, that means they can push the market rents up because they can afford to. And then they can treat their tenants like this because they can, because they know that that tenant is not going to find somewhere else to live. So I could hire an electrician at $200. I could buy a lamp at $20. I could buy the supplies at the hardware store and try to fix it myself for $75. Electrician? Buy a lamp? Oh yeah, that's an overwhelming winner. It's not ideal, but at least my child has somewhere to work. Oh no, the children keep growing. I can spend $200 on new food, new clothes, Or I can go to Value Village or Salvation Army and I can spend $75 on clothes. New clothes? Value Village. Your child is embarrassed by wearing secondhand clothes, but at least they're clothed. You both need to go to the dentist and you don't have dental insurance. Most people working minimum wage jobs do not have any kind of health insurance. So we can both go to the dentist for $330, or I can just send my child for $165. Are we both going? We're going to send the child? Okay. Look at what we have left in the bank, and we still have 2 days till payday. Next. Sorry, you didn't make the month. This is what it's like for people that are living in poverty. I would encourage you to try this at home. It's called makethemonth.ca. There's a variety of different, you can go through different scenarios just to see, but it is a really good experience in what it's like to live with, to make those kinds of choices that we think are not that hard, and yet when you're balancing bad versus worse versus really bad, what do you do? So let's go back to the first speaker, the woman who was asking for assistance to pay her rental arrears. I did overturn that decision. I did authorize the agency to pay her rental arrears. I had a conversation with her about why she was in arrears. I talked to her about maybe meeting with one of our outreach workers to look at some budgeting, see what we can do to help her make the month so that she does have a roof over her head and she does have some assistance for food. I don't kid myself and think I won't hear from her again. But at least for now, she's stable. And that's really the best that we can do at this point, is to help people go make the month. Just get to that next month. And so my plug for Mission and Service. The Mission and Service Fund supports 2 programs in the region of Durham. The first is the Backdoor Ministry, which is a nonprofit agency in Oshawa that operates out of Simcoe Street United Church. And the other one is North House, which operates in Cannington and provides assistance for people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. Both programs provide real, tangible assistance, providing people with food, with clothing. North House offers a community kitchen where they teach people how to cook nutritious meals, how to make that dollar stretch in the kitchen, and provide food that is nutritious as well as inexpensive. The Backdoor Ministry offers meals during the week and connection to agencies that will help them with things like doing their taxes, so you make sure you get tax benefit. All the that we take for granted that people living close to the line have a need for. But the key ingredient that the staff of both programs provides is the connection. That same connection that we talked about when we were doing our learning programs, the same connection that our speakers talked about when they were describing what their life is like and how important it is to them to have friends, to feel important, to feel loved, even if it's just for a short period of time. So really, there is no difference between them and us. Really all just us. Amen.